Okay, so if you're a creator, a writer, anyone who tells stories, you know we're always on the lookout for that one piece of advice that just clicks, that changes everything. Well, today we're diving into this really powerful set of principles from a writer's own guidebook, a kind of creative compass that's guided them for almost 2 whole decades. So get this, the story starts way back in 2008 in a creative writing class. But as the writer tells it, the really profound life-changing lessons, they didn't happen in the classroom. Nope. They came from the conversations that happened long, long after class was over. I want you to just picture this for a second. Class wraps up late at night, but nobody's really ready to go home. The discussion is just getting started. For 5 months straight, these after parties would go on, sometimes until the sun was literally coming up. This was the real classroom. This was where the discovery happened. And as the night wore on, the crowd would get smaller and smaller. And often, the author would be the last one there, just talking one-on-one with their teacher. It was in that quiet, intimate space, away from everyone else, that the real mentorship, the real gold, was shared. And that's what this is all about. In those late-night talks, 3 simple but incredibly profound ideas were passed down. So what were they? What was this wisdom that could hold up for an entire creative career for 17 years? Let's just get right to it. These weren't, complicated literary theories or some technical writing rules. They were much deeper than that. They were fundamental principles for how to look at the world and really how to be in it as a writer. And here they are. First, always maintain a low gaze. And don't worry, we're going to unpack exactly what that means in a second. Second, don't let money be your master. Make sure your creative engine is fueled by meaning, not just the market. And third, maybe most importantly, make people, humanity itself, the absolute heart of your work. That's why you tell stories. 3 ideas, so simple, but man, so powerful when you put them together. For 17 years, this wasn't just some advice they remembered from a class. It became a living, breathing philosophy, a compass that helped them navigate all the ups and downs of a creative life, shaping literally every project they worked on. And this is just the perfect way to describe it. A lighthouse, right? It doesn't steer the ship for you, but it gives you that constant, guiding light in the dark. It keeps you from crashing on the rocks. And that's exactly what these teachings became for this writer. So let's really dig into that first one, because it's probably the most fundamental teaching of all, this whole idea of maintaining a low gaze. What in the world does that actually mean for a storyteller? Okay, so a low gaze isn't about looking down on anyone. It's the complete opposite. It's about consciously turning your attention towards the lowest places in society, to the people who are marginalized, who are overlooked, who are forgotten, and trying to genuinely understand what life feels like from their point of view. But you might be thinking, okay, but why? Why that specific focus? Why is looking towards the bottom so essential for a writer? The answer is one word: authenticity. Real, powerful, resonant writing, it just doesn't come from watching life from a safe distance. It comes from getting right up close to the core of what it means to be human. And you often find that in places of struggle, of vulnerability. Let's break it down into a little process here. First, you have to actively observe those on the fringes of society. Then, you have to do the work to truly understand their inner world, their thoughts, their feelings, and through that empathy, you start to feel the real weight and meaning of life. And it's only from that deep, deep well of understanding that you can finally write with genuine authenticity, the kind of writing that's truly about people, which connects right back to the other teachings. So how does this all come together? Well, these teachings aren't some rigid formula you just follow. They combine to form that compass we talked about, a writer's lighthouse that any of us can use. The low gaze gives you the perspective, and that perspective makes sure your focus stays on people and their truths, instead of just chasing a paycheck. And here's the contrast laid out plain and simple. A high gaze looks at things from way up high, right? It's distant, it's abstract, and honestly, it can be pretty superficial. But a low gaze, that's intimate. It's totally grounded in the real human experience. And that is the most direct path to authenticity in your work. It's how you make stories that matter to people, a goal money just can't buy. So, to wrap it all up, this is the whole philosophy. A low gaze helps you find that authenticity. Focusing on people over profit keeps your work meaningful. And together, they create this timeless guide, not just for writing, really, but for paying attention to the world in a much more compassionate, much more insightful way. And that leaves us with one last question for you. These three teachings became a lighthouse for one writer. They gave direction and purpose for a whole career. So, what about you? What are your core principles? What is the lighthouse that will guide your creative journey?